Once upon a time, in a serene village nestled among the hills, a person sought the wisdom of Gautama Buddha. This individual was grappling with intense feelings of anger and frustration that often clouded his mind and heart. He felt overwhelmed and was desperately searching for a way to manage his emotions more effectively. With a gentle smile, Buddha invited him to sit down beside him. He then said, "Let me share a story with you that may help illuminate your path. Once upon a time, there was a king who ruled over a prosperous and flourishing kingdom. His subjects admired him for his fairness and wisdom. One day, driven by curiosity and a desire for knowledge, he decided to visit a neighboring kingdom. He had heard tales of the king there, who was renowned for his exceptional wisdom and insight. The stories spoke of a ruler who could solve the most complex problems with ease and grace. When the king arrived at the neighboring kingdom, he was greeted with great honor and respect. The people celebrated his visit, and the king of the neighboring kingdom had prepared a grand feast in his honor. The banquet hall was adorned with beautiful decorations, and the aroma of delicious food filled the air. As the two kings sat together, enjoying the festivities, the atmosphere was filled with laughter and joy. During the feast, however, the king noticed something that disturbed him. As he took a sip of his soup, he spotted a small fly floating on the surface. Disgusted, he immediately called for his servant and ordered him to bring another bowl of soup. The king of the neighboring kingdom, observing this reaction, leaned forward and said, "Your Majesty, please do not let this small fly upset you. It is merely a tiny creature and does not truly matter in the grand scheme of things." The king, however, was not so easily swayed. He replied, "I cannot tolerate such things. Even a small fly can ruin my mood and spoil my enjoyment of this wonderful feast." The king of the neighboring kingdom smiled knowingly and said, "Your Majesty, allow me to offer you a piece of advice. It is not the fly that has ruined your mood. Rather, it is your reaction to it that has caused this disturbance. You possess the power to control your emotions. Do not allow them to control you." Hearing these wise words, the king began to reflect on their meaning. He realized that he had been allowing trivial matters to dictate his feelings and reactions. With newfound understanding, he returned to his kingdom, determined to practice the art of not reacting to situations that would have previously triggered his emotions. He found that by taking a moment to pause and breathe, he could maintain his composure even in challenging situations. This practice allowed him to make better decisions and approach life with a clearer mind. The lesson of not reacting is one that holds great importance for all of us. In our daily lives, we often find ourselves reacting to situations without taking a moment to think. This impulsive behavior can lead to negative consequences, damaging our relationships and clouding our judgment. Reacting with anger and frustration can create rifts between us and those we care about, making it difficult to communicate effectively. However, it is crucial to understand that not reacting does not mean we should suppress our emotions. Emotions are a natural part of our human experience, and it is essential to acknowledge them. Instead of reacting impulsively, we should take the time to process our feelings and respond thoughtfully. This approach allows us to engage with our emotions in a healthy way, fostering better relationships and clearer thinking. In another part of the world, there lived a young man named Michael. Michael was known for being a very emotional person. He often reacted impulsively to situations that upset him, leading to conflicts and hurt feelings. When faced with challenges, he would become angry and say hurtful things, which only escalated the situation. This cycle of impulsive reactions left him feeling drained and regretful. One day, after reflecting on his behavior, Michael decided it was time to take control of his emotions. He recognized that his impulsive reactions were causing more harm than good, and he was determined to change. He began to explore practices such as mindfulness and meditation, which helped him become more aware of his thoughts and emotions. Through these practices, he learned to observe his feelings without judgment, allowing him to respond rather than react. As he continued his journey, Michael also started practicing the art of not reacting. Whenever he found himself in a situation that would typically trigger his emotions, he would take a step back and take a few deep breaths. This simple act of pausing allowed him to assess the situation calmly and respond in a thoughtful manner. At first, it was challenging for Michael to control his emotions. He would still feel anger and frustration, but he was learning to take a moment before reacting. As time went on, Michael found that it became easier to manage his emotions. He noticed a significant improvement in his relationships with others. No longer did he find himself getting into arguments or hurting people's feelings. Instead, he was able to communicate in a calm and thoughtful manner, which helped him build stronger connections with those around him. One day, a close friend of Michael's came to him seeking advice. His friend was going through a difficult time and was feeling very upset. Michael listened attentively to his friend's problems, offering words of comfort and support. His friend expressed gratitude, saying, "You always know just what to say. You never seem to get angry or upset." Michael smiled and replied, "It's not that I never feel angry or upset. It's just that I've learned to control my emotions and not let them control me. This practice has become a powerful tool that has helped me improve my relationships and my overall well-being." His friend was impressed and asked how he had learned to control his emotions. Michael shared his experiences with mindfulness and the importance of not reacting impulsively. Encouraged by Michael's insights, his friend decided to try these practices for himself. Michael's guidance provided him with a sense of hope and direction during a challenging time. Over time, Michael became known for his calm and thoughtful demeanor. He was able to handle difficult situations with ease, and people admired him for his strength and resilience. As he continued to practice mindfulness and the art of not reacting, Michael discovered that it brought him a profound sense of inner peace and happiness. The power of not reacting is a valuable lesson that we can all learn from. It requires practice and patience, but the rewards are well worth the effort. By controlling our emotions, we can improve our relationships, make better decisions, and lead more fulfilling lives. The moral of the story of the King and Michael teaches us that we have the power to control our emotions. While we may not be able to control what happens to us, we can control how we react to those events. By practicing mindfulness and the art of not reacting, we can learn to manage our emotions and respond thoughtfully to the world around us. This powerful tool can help us enhance our relationships, improve our well-being, and elevate our overall quality of life. So let us take the time to practice and cultivate this essential skill, allowing it to transform our lives for the better. As Buddha wisely said, "Anger will never disappear so long as thoughts of resentment are cherished in the mind. Anger will vanish just as soon as thoughts of resentment are forgotten. He who holds back rising anger like a rolling chariot, him I call a real driver. Other people are merely holding the reins." Holding on to anger is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die. One who conquers himself is greater than another who conquers 1,000 times 1,000 on the battlefield. Do not be led by your reactions, be led by your actions. Peace comes from within. Do not seek it without. In a controversy, the instant we feel anger, we have already ceased striving for the truth and have begun striving for ourselves. The mind is everything. What you think, you become. You will not be punished for your anger. You will be punished by your anger. The root of suffering is attachment. If you want others to be happy, practice compassion. If you want to be happy, practice compassion. Letting go gives us freedom, and freedom is the only condition for happiness. If in our hearts we still cling to anything, anger, anxiety, or possessions, we cannot be free. Better than 1,000 hollow words is one word that brings peace. All that we are is the result of what we have thought. Respond, don't react. Respond with reason, not emotion. In the end, only 3 things matter: how much you loved, how gently you lived, and how gracefully you let go of things not meant for you. He who experiences the unity of life sees his own self in all beings, and all beings in his own self, and looks on everything with an impartial eye. Happiness never decreases by being shared. We are shaped by our thoughts. We become what we think. Do not dwell in the past. Do not dream of the future. Concentrate the mind on the present moment. Three things cannot be long hidden: the sun, the moon, and the truth. The only way to find true happiness is to let go of your attachment to things and people. The mind is everything. What you think, you become. It is a man's own mind, not his enemy or foe, that lures him to evil ways. An idea that is developed and put into action is more important than an idea that exists only as an idea. There is no fire like passion, there is no shark like hatred, there is no snare like folly, there is no torrent like greed. What we think, we become. All that we are arises with our thoughts. With our thoughts, we make the world. If you want to fly, you have to give up what weighs you down. If you want to change the world, change yourself first. Happiness is not something ready-made. It comes from your own actions. The trouble is, you think you have time. The mind is like water. When it's turbulent, it's difficult to see. When it's calm, everything becomes clear. The tongue, like a sharp knife, heals without drawing blood. Do not seek to follow in the footsteps of the wise. Seek what they sought. Purity or impurity depends on oneself. No one can purify another. Let us rise up and be thankful, for if we didn't learn a lot today, at least we learned a little. And if we didn't learn a little, at least we didn't get sick. And if we got sick, at least we didn't die. So let us all be thankful. The only real failure in life is not to be true to the best one knows. The past is already gone. The future is not yet here. There's only one moment for you to live. To be idle is a short road to death, and to be diligent is a way of life. Foolish people are idle, wise people are diligent. Hatred does not cease by hatred, but only by love. This is the eternal rule. Whatever a monk keeps pursuing with his thinking and pondering, that becomes the inclination of his awareness. Do not dwell in the past. Do not dream of the future. Concentrate the mind on the present moment. The mind is everything. What you think, you become. Do not look for a sanctuary in anyone except yourself. The only way to do great work is to love what you do. If you haven't found it yet, keep looking. Don't settle. As with all matters of the heart, you'll know when you find it. The greatest glory in living lies not in never falling, but in rising every time we fall. No one saves us but ourselves. No one can and no one may. We ourselves must walk the path.